Hello everyone, my name is Matt. I'm an avid outdoorsman and a hunter. So for this project I decided to talk about something I'm very familiar with. That's white-tailed deer. So for this project I'm going to kind of take a two-pronged approach with it. I'm going to be talking about the deer's effect on the ecosystem and then climate change effect on the deer population. Like I said, I'm an avid outdoorsman and a hunter. We're right in the middle of deer season right now. It's a topic I really enjoy talking about is deer. So let's just jump right into this and get started. So, a brief history about the white-tailed deer in the United States. Around the turn of the century, 1900s, there's about 500,000 deer estimated to be in the United States. That's down from about 40 million was the original estimate when the Europeans first started coming into the United States or the New World. And that population was decimated, just like the bison population was, largely part to overhunting. You had the fur trade, obviously food, the food trade. So, around the 1930s, there's estimated only 300,000 deer in the United States. A large part in that, again, no regulations on hunting, trapping. The fur trade still being very popular in the United States. And then, obviously, in the 1930s, we had the Great Depression. Excuse me. Food was a scarcity, other resources. So obviously people started going to, self-preservation mode. They started hunting, even poaching. The DNR, the Department of Natural Resources, was not founded until around the 1927, I believe it was. And there was a little oversight over the Fish and Game wildlife area, and even less so enforcement. So there wasn't a whole lot of repercussions for poaching and hunting outside, what the limits were. So, fast forward to today, there's about 300 million white-tailed deer in the United States. Out of that 300 million, about 800,000 of those are in the state of Ohio. That's almost 10,000 deer per county, which equates to about 17 deer per square mile. Now, whether that sounds a lot to you or a little to you, what can't be understated is the effects they have on the ecosystem. First off, positive impacts they have in the ecosystem. They're right in the middle of the food chain. They're herbivores, so they obviously eat plants, but they do have many predators. They have, wolves, coyotes, bears, which we don't have a whole lot of those in Ohio, but what we do have in Ohio is a lot of hunters. And unfortunately with hunters, you also get poachers. But with deer, they are right in the middle of the food chain, like I said. So they're very, very impactful to the ecosystem. Going forward with that, with every positive, you have negatives. So a couple negatives we're going to touch on real quick. Agriculture, automobile, impacts, and then natural resources. So, for agriculture, deer wreak havoc on the agriculture, mainly on corn, soybeans, even as far as, tomatoes, strawberries, anything they can really eat, they'll go for. So it's estimated around $765 million a year is lost in the United States due to the white-tailed deer population. Large populations of white-tailed deer are competing for a limited amount of resources for natural vegetation, nuts, berries, leaves, in the forest. So where do they go? They go to farmers' fields. They go after the corn, the soybeans, again, any crops really that they're planting. So that is a big impact that they have for the agricultural industry. Another big impact we have is the impact on automobiles. With a huge population in the United States, there's approximately 1.5 million accidents every year in the United States due to deer. costing the automotive insurance industry about $1 billion, and that's according to a AAA article that I read. And even more important than that, there's about 200 fatalities every year due to white-tailed deer. And I found it kind of interesting that Michigan and Ohio, since this study was done, Michigan and Ohio have been in the top 10 every year for fatal deer collisions. Some other negative impacts that we have, like I said, they eat the resources. They eat up to actually 4 to 8 pounds a day of whether it be nuts, berries, acorns, whatever they can find, as well as unfortunately agriculture. That equates to just under 250 million pounds a day throughout the United States, or around 87 billion pounds a year of vegetation that the deer are consuming. With these deer, we actually have, invasive species are able to come in where the deer wipe out the natural vegetation that was there in the forest. Invasive species are able to come in. The deer might sample these, but they don't really go after these invasive species. Unfortunately, they do spread these invasive species through excretion, through seeds getting on their fur, being taken to a different area, and then passed along. So another impact that they have is deforestation. Really, I mean, you can see over here on the picture on the left is what a natural forest would look like. You have low vegetation. The photo on the right, you can see that any vegetation really above 5-6 feet is non-existent. That's because that's about as far up as deer can reach. So that's all wiped out. If you're trying to find a silver lining in all that, you can say that that helps reduce forest fires because it gets rid of a lot of the underbrush. But it's very destructive to our natural ecosystem. What is really hurting with the natural ecosystem is we have a lot of smaller animals, a lot of rodents, a lot of the birds, reptiles that depend on that vegetation for hiding, for shelter, and the deer are just going through it and destroying it. So, with climate change, the reason the deer population is so proliferate right now is we're having more and more mild winters. So there's less snow cover. So there's less starvation. There's less death in the winter because of that. There's just longer vegetation seasons. Interesting side note: when I was researching all this, is it's actually having the reverse impact on moose. It says in the Midwest, it's more the Canadian Midwest and obviously Ohio. But it's having a big psychological issue is what experts are saying with all this warming. And they're actually seeing a lot of the population of moose either migrate or actually just start to die off in these areas. And they're still doing a lot of research to figure out the direct impacts of all that. So I guess what can we do? There's a couple things we can do. We could always increase hunting. There's deer contraceptive devices, actually, sterilization, or let nature take care of nature. So as a hunter, obviously, I'm a big fan of more hunting. But some non-lethal management ways is, there is wildlife birth control, where there's some vaccines administered either by darts or by shots, which delay does having offspring by a couple years. There's chemical repellents, which through what we've learned this chapter, it gets in the soil, gets in our waterways. Those aren't really great, and it's very expensive. On top of that, you have to keep applying the chemicals. Fencing, kind of in the same boat there. They do have an economic or environmental impact, as well as they constantly need maintenance, and it is very expensive. Some lethal ways, like I said, hunting. Another way is kind of controversial is deer calling, which is more or less guns for hire for, controlling the deer population. It's kind of frowned upon. It's very expensive. And, it really doesn't have a huge impact because if you're removing the deer, but you're not removing the habitat, which, encourages the deer to move there, you're putting a Band-Aid on this situation. So a couple takeaways we can get from this is, real quick here, that, deer are very important to the ecosystem, as far as, being kind of the middle of the food chain. Overpopulation can quickly devastate a region, but, underpopulation, is not great either. We'll get an abundance of vegetation, overgrowth, a big cause for wildfires, and there's less resources for predators to have. So that's kind of a real quick synopsis of my project. Hope you enjoyed it.